Well, welcome back everybody to the Haas playthrough in the Fire mod in Motorsport Manager then. And it's time for that long-awaited race number 1 of Season 2 then. We've done everything we can, and we just got to hope that the changes we've made over the off-season, the car we built, is going to be good enough to propel us up the grid. Now, I'm a little bit worried, because we apparently have the worst car of the grid, according to this, but these stats aren't always completely reliable. But I don't know why we would have dropped so much. Whether this is because we haven't put any new parts on the car and lots of other people have. It seems odd to me, but as I said, the car you build is generally the basis of it, and it depends on the parts you build as to how quickly the car actually improves season to season. So you generally don't improve the car between the last race of the first season and the first race of the next season. So it's going to be interesting to see anyway. And obviously qualifying, we'll get a good idea as to how much we've actually progressed. And then the race, as always, the opening race is going to be mostly about reliability and making sure we get the car to the finish. And if we do that, we should hopefully get some points. So we're going to go with a normal split of 654 on the tyres. In terms of the parts we're using, obviously no new parts on the car yet. Kevin Magnussen's apparently got a slightly worse car, so maybe we should switch these around a little bit to try and even it up. Now, Leclerc has got a lot of the better parts on the car, but it's still saying that Magnussen's car is 11% better. And Leclerc thinks his car is better as well, so I think that's a good balance. I think in general, Leclerc actually has a few of the newer parts, so I might just give some of the better parts. Sorry, so I think we will just give Magnussen a couple of another part. Sorry, just try and even that out. So that's 2 parts Magnussen's got better and 1 part Leclerc's got better. So we're hoping Leclerc is going to continue to improve this year. But I still expect him to be a little bit off Magnussen early on in the season. So we shall continue to give Magnussen the best car for now. And we've got a lot of rain for race number 1 then. A wet practice and a wet race. So lots of opportunities for strategy. So as per usual, I'm going to get practice underway. And I'll be back with you for the crucial first qualifying session of the year. Okay, into qualifying we go then. And a pretty difficult practice session to open up the season. It was raining on and off throughout, and the only real practice we could get in is on the intermediate tyres, so no real benefit for qualifying, but hopefully we'll get some nice bonuses for the race if it's not too wet and just in that right zone to be able to use the intermediates. Both cars 97 on the setup, so not too bad. Could be better, could be worse. And yeah, with bringing in Ferrucci, it means we've now not got a solid reserve to do practice, to do the feedback, because both Leclerc and Ferrucci are both 4 in their rating for feedback, so it's a bit difficult to we can't get both objectives done like we could before. We can't get both race and qualifying objectives done. Hopefully that will improve from both their drivers, and we probably need to build whatever building relates to improving the feedback of the driver, so I need to take a look into that once we've got a bit of money. But our first laps are in, and they're a lot better than I expected, and to be honest, we were a lot better than I was expecting in practice as well. I was expecting our car to be right down the bottom, or close to, but it looks like we've held our advantage from last year and look like we might just about creep into the top 10 once again. So a fairly long lap here, so we need to go out again pretty soon. But that's the first lap in from everybody, and we're 11th from 12th, so that's not too bad. And just a couple of attempts improvement would see us go nicely into that top 10. Looks like Mercedes once again have got a massive advantage from the Ferraris and the Red Bulls. Hulkenberg has taken over Perez's role of getting into that, splitting the Red Bulls. But yeah, it's really close in that midfield. So hopefully we can see some improvements. Both drivers are very close to each other as well, which is good news for Leclerc anyway. Showing signs of improvement. The shoots of speed, which no one's ever called it, but I'm going to call it that. It seems like a legitimate term, no? No? Okay, no. Now, it was pointed out to me in the comments that the red, white and blue that I went for with this car is actually red, white and purple. That would be because of my slight colour blindness between shades. It looks blue to me, but apparently it's not. So if we get spare 500,000 during the season, then I will change that to blue. Not much love for the livery, to be fair. They would have preferred the original Haas colours, so I think we will go back to that next season. But I just thought, you know, a bit more patriotic for Haas. I always find their cars quite bland with the just sort of grey on black. But apparently people like it. Oh, good lap from Leclerc. Goes up to P5 then. Magnussen coming up to the line now. Only improves to P11. So that's a great lap from Leclerc. And showing that pace he showed in the last few races of last season. And in qualifying at least, he makes it 1-0 against Magnussen for this season. And showing that he's right at home in this car now. And showing good pace from the car as well. P6 and P11 is not too bad. It's very close in this midfield, so it's going to be a tough race still to get points. Because I would say anybody from sort of Leclerc down to the Renaults and the Toro Rossos could get points here. A fairly decent showing from Russian Time on their debut then. And McLaren, they could be in real danger this season of getting demoted down to Formula 2. Which is why I hate this system that it's in this mod, that it still has the promotions and demotions, because if McLaren end up in Formula 2, it'd be the most unrealistic thing possible. But it might give us something to carry on with this career mode if we manage to win the title with Haas. Then we could go and take McLaren from Formula 2 back up to Formula 1. You never know. Right, so the buffs we've got for this race are basically intermediate and race trim. We're obviously going to use Kevin Magnussen to push it to the limit, as we always do, and we'll use race trim rather than intermediates, as it's obviously starting off dry, and then we got some rain coming down after about lap 10 or so. So we need to bear that in mind in terms of our starting tyres. So super softs aren't going to get far enough. So I feel we should probably go for soft tyres on both cars. We should have a very good car this year in terms of looking after the tyres, so I shouldn't worry about getting that distance out of them as long as we manage it correctly. So I think we'll go soft tyres on both cars. Obviously Magnussen once again will go with the full fuel load because he'll be able to push a lot harder on his car. But obviously we got to keep an eye on it on both of them, because these are new cars and the reliability is not yet up to scratch as in terms of where we want it to be. Bottas takes the first pole of 2017 then from Lewis Hamilton, Raikkonen, Vettel, Ricciardo and then Leclerc. So it looks like Mercedes have extended their advantage over the winter and Ferrari have dropped a little bit back towards the midfield. Other than that, not much has changed. Strong showing from the Renault of Hulkenberg in 7th means they may have made a step forward. Lucas Ayr there for Williams, one of the very strange additions in the off-season. I think we've got another one that, yeah, Daniel Kielwitz in the other Renault. The GT Masters driver is now in Formula 1 at the age of like 27. Artyom Markalo comes up with Russian Time along with Luca Giotto. Both fairly decent drivers and probably drivers that would have found their way into the higher formulas anyway, so nothing strange about that. And then Alonso and Van Dorn at the back of the grid. Another disappointing season ahead for the McLarens, I'm sure. Right, here we go then. We are ready to get underway. Oh, it's a bad start from Leclerc. Really didn't get off the line well at all there, and he's managed to cover off a couple of positions into turn 1, but he does lose out to Verstappen in the end. And Magnussen is already past him then, and up into 8th place now. Right, we will scale back the fuel for Leclerc and go back to neutral on the tyres for both of them. We will keep the fuel mode on high for Magnussen and get ready for this charge to be used. Of course, we've got a different charge system this year. I can't remember, even though it's a couple of days ago, what the benefits of it were. But I think it was a little slower to charge, so I think we've used it a little bit later than everybody here. It's actually discharged it straight away. Oh, I don't think it was actually topped up. I think that's what our system did, if I remember rightly. Is we don't get that boost at the beginning. It starts at 0%, but it should charge up quicker than anybody on the grid. So, unless of course they're using the same system. But we're the only people to start on the soft tyres, which is interesting. So as long as we can make them last, then we should be quids in, because I don't think the rain will come down in time to save everybody on the super soft. So we might once again have played a bit of a blinder here, but it's going to mean that we're going to be going backwards in this first stint. Both drivers line astern at the moment in 10th and 11th. Leclerc coming under a lot of pressure though from Ocon in the Force India. Magnussen actually starting to put the pressure back on Stroll then, and it's pretty status quo. Aua is God knows how you pronounce that. I'm going to go with Aua for this season. Is up to 6th in a great little start for for Williams, sorry. Hulkenberg obviously made a mistake on the first lap, back to 18th. So trying to get an early impression as to who our rivals are going to be this season. Obviously I'd like to be challenging Force India and Red Bull if we can, but of course the order might have swapped around a bit. We'll have to wait and see. Tyres looking okay at the moment then. We might just go back to medium with Magnussen for the moment, save a little bit of fuel so that he can attack once the rain comes. And it looks like the rain's going to come down pretty hard, to the point that we will be on wet tyres by the midpoint of this race, but I think intermediates will still be our best bet to begin with for that sort of 7 or 8 lap period until it's wet enough for wets. So Magnussen is back past Ocon. Oh no, he's not. He's ahead of Ocon. It's Stroll that came in nice and early then. And it does seem to me as though these cars are... nearly everybody's going to have to pit before the rain comes down. You've got the 2 Mercedes looking after those tyres very well at the moment, as are the Ferraris, but most of the cars around us have burnt through them pretty quickly. So we could be quids in here. We just need to look after these soft tyres and hope that they get to the rain. Sure enough, bunch of cars coming in on that lap then. And this is really going to put us in the driving seat for this race as long as we get to the rain. You can also see here how quickly this is recharging now. So this is going to be a big benefit to us this season. And it's going to really help us when we get stuck behind cars, or we pit earlier than we need to help us get back through traffic. But we'll wait a little bit before using it. There's no real need to get past anybody at the moment, especially as they're all going to be getting out of the way, taking an early stop then. And I don't see any problem with these soft tyres getting to where they need to be. The first car that's pitted is Verstappen in 13th, still 14 odd seconds behind. So if we want to be sure, we maybe just go to conserve mode with the driving style for the moment, just to make sure we extend them far enough. But there's another... Ricciardo's gone on to the intermediates already then. That's very optimistic from Red Bull. Alonso and Van Dorn have done so as well. So some early stops for people and some bad stops for people means that we're in the prime position here, and it's made even better by the fact that we were the only 2 cars that stopped, that were on soft tyres, sorry. So apart from maybe the Mercedes, well, only Hamilton at this point, who has looked after their tyres very well, we should be right in the driving seat here. Right, we can use our boost pretty soon. As I say, there's no real benefit to us. We're even ahead of the Ferraris then, as they come back out on the intermediate tyres. Again, a little bit early for them. So I think we'll use a bit of fuel for Magnussen, and we'll use the boost from both of these guys as they go down the long back section of this track. And hopefully these tyres are going to hold out. I don't see why they wouldn't, to be fair. It's only another lap or two till the rain comes, and we've probably got another 4 or 5 laps in these soft tyres yet. So this could be the perfect start to this season. Both Mercedes still out there. I would expect Bottas at least to come in this lap. Hamilton stays out there then, so Hamilton's managed to look after his tyres well enough to get this strategy right. Right, we're going to come in this time around then. I think it will probably be another lap after this until it's quite ready, but obviously our 2 cars being so close, we're going to have to stagger this. So Magnussen will come in first time around, and then Leclerc will come in the following lap then. No need to conserve these tyres now. So let's actually probably go to push with both of these cars now. And just try and extend our advantage. Obviously those guys on intermediates are going to start coming back at us at some point. It's going to be interesting where we slot back in here, to be fair. It depends how long the pit lane is. But we're not going to be as far ahead as I thought. We're going to come back out in the points, I would hope. And hopefully we can get back out ahead of Ocon. Yeah, you're going to come in next time around, Charles. I'm afraid we can't get you in any earlier than that. You might lose a bit of time here. But there's not much we can do at this point. Alright, let's see with K-Mag where he's going to come back out. We need a good stop here from the team. There goes the Ferraris and the Mercedes. And he's back out again. And he's going to beat Ricciardo out. Just about. And let's use that boost there. No need to push now. And we'll keep using fuel for the first couple of laps. But that's worked out beautifully. And we're ahead of everybody we need to. Only the Ferraris and Mercedes ahead of us now. It's gone back down to normal speed for some reason. Let's go back up to 2. Now Leclerc's probably going to be hit quite a lot harder from this. Obviously it's wet now, really wet. And he's going to probably lose out from this. As long as he comes back out ahead of 11th place, I think we'll be okay here. Good stop. Out he comes. He's actually going to get back out in 7th then, just ahead of Oa in the Williams car. We'll just use his remaining boost to make sure he stays ahead of the Williams. And now we'll start to settle down and see what kind of pace we've got on the intermediates then. So Magnussen's being hurried by Ricciardo, but I'm not too worried at this point because Ricciardo's got pretty worn tyres. But obviously it's going to be the wet tyre switch that we need to worry about, and I'm pretty sure our tyres will easily last until then. It's going to dry out again towards the end of the race, but wet tyres will definitely be the correct thing to do. I think we'll leave it a couple of laps though, just because that rain's going to die off in the next block, and then when it starts going back up again we will switch to the wet tyres. We could have risked it, to be fair. We could have risked putting our guys on the wet tyres, especially Leclerc maybe could have done that, but at the end of the day I don't think it's too much of an issue. We are pushing unnecessarily though. We're in such a good position. I just want to look after the cars at this point. We're just approaching halfway in this race, and obviously for K-Mag it's not going to be a problem with his knowledge slot, but for Leclerc, you know, he's probably dropped under 50% in terms of how much the parts have worn during the race on some of them, so just need to keep an eye on it. Now it's going to rain pretty heavily again after this lap, and we're going to have to stagger our cars again then. Well, there's about 5 seconds between them. We could risk stacking them. They're only going to lose a second or two at worst. And it's just picking the right time here. So Leclerc has actually fallen back behind the Williams now, but we can probably attack back down the next straight. Right now it's getting wet. Now it is getting wet. I think we'll jump Magnussen this lap. I think we will stack them. I think we can probably get away with it, and I think this is the right lap to do so. So hopefully our pit crew can do a good job here and get both guys back out without them stopping. Right, Magnussen in, out, perfect. Perfect, good job guys, only a tenth between the two cars, and now that rain is coming right down. So I think we can probably use that boost and use a bit of fuel here to take advantage of this. So Magnussen cruises back past Ricciardo, who also stopped for the wets on that lap, it's worth pointing out. But crucially, Uer and Verstappen didn't, so they're going to lose out here. And it's going to be wet till the end of the race here, so hopefully these wet tyres will last the distance. They're expected to do 12 to 14, so we probably will have to stop again. So I don't think we have to look after them all that much here. And it will definitely be wet tyres again, looking at that graphic. Okay, so it's all shaken out now. Everybody's made their wet tyre stop, and we're 4th and 6th then. So Magnussen in a good position. The front three are miles away. Raikkonen mucked up a little bit during that sequence of stops. He's actually back down to 8th now. And the two positions we need to manage then are Magnussen defending from Ricciardo and Leclerc defending from Uer. Now they're actually a little cold, these tyres, so I think we'll push them because, as I say, I think everybody will have to stop again. And we've got the best tyre wear possible, so if we can't make it till the end of the race, then no one else is going to be able to. So we may as well push, I think. Try and get the temperatures back up. Right, we'll save a little bit of fuel, get both back in the positive, and then we've got a bit of fuel to use towards the end. I'm really liking this energy system. This energy system's really working out for us. It's recharging really quickly, and it means we can attack and defend pretty often. Leclerc is on a stellar pace at the moment. He's sprinting away from Oa behind, and it's actually closing down Ricciardo now. So everything looking good. Gearbox is a bit of a worry with Leclerc, as it is with Magnussen. 11 laps to go. Magnussen, obviously, we're not too worried because he can go to minimum. He's got no red zone, of course. But Leclerc, we might want to avoid using fuel modes between now and the end of the race. And that charge is almost recharged then. Tyre temp's looking good. 11 laps to go. Now, it's going to be a question of stopping again. Because people like Perez and Uer that stopped a little later than us do have better tyre life left in them. And it's not as if it's 4 or 5 laps out. It's only a couple of laps short, the tyre life. So we'll have to keep an eye on this. Now they're back up to temperature. Maybe if we go to neutral, to see if we can look after them a little bit more. I mean, so far we've done 5 laps on them. They're already down to 50%. So I'd be fairly confident we've got to stop again. Let's just go for it. Let's admit that we're going to have to stop again and just go push. We may as well. Right, Magnussen coming under pressure now from Ricciardo. He's got a bit of fuel to use and some boost. So let's use the boost on both cars to get Leclerc onto the back of Ricciardo and see if he can do anything about him. Oh, Ricciardo used his boost to defend just as Leclerc was going to have a dive down the inside there. But that's given Magnussen a bit of breathing room. 8 seconds back to the Williams of Oa now. I'm a little bit worried about his tyre life. He's looking after those well. We've got front wing problems for Leclerc, but I don't think that should be too much of an issue. We should probably stop pushing though. But at the same time, if we've got to stop again, we've got to try and eke out a gap here. I thought someone was pitting then. It's actually Raikkonen trying to get past Oer. 8 laps to go. Our tyres are pretty knackered. And they're a lot more knackered than anybody else's. So I think we're going to have to stop. I do think we're going to have to stop. And it might be the case that no one else does. but there's not much we can do about that. Right, I'm not going to do any repairs on Magnussen's car, certainly. There's definitely no need for him. Leclerc, we might have to. We'll put Leclerc on the same lap, I think. Front wing's only going to cost us 4 seconds. Just in case that fails, I think belt and braces time hit for him. And then we can be nice and aggressive towards the end of the race. It's going to be close as to whether everybody's going to have to pit. Ricciardo comes in on the same lap then, so that helps us out a bit. I think most people are. Magnussen gets back out just before Leclerc pulls into the box then. Another good job from the team. Even with that front wing from Leclerc, only 5.7 seconds is stopped then. And he gets back out ahead of Lance Stroll, which is good news. And we've got a little bit of fuel we can use with Leclerc. We're going to have to turn Magnussen down a little bit at some point. And it's Auer that's going to be the problem then. So Auer may well stay out. What are they doing? What is Vettel and Bottas have put super softs on, as have a lot of the field. Some of them have put intermediates on. Oh dear God. What are they doing? Ricciardo's just put the super softs on. This is just ridiculous. We've just been gifted this now. Hamilton's just put the super softs on. 5 laps to go on a wet track. We can win this. We could win this. Let's use those boosts now from both cars. Auer's just come in as well, so that puts them out of the way. Oh, this is stupid. This is absolutely idiotic from the AI. Do we expect any less though? Really? Not really. Actually, we can probably stay on high engine mode for Leclerc. Gearbox and engine look fine. Perez has just got back past Leclerc then. So Perez hasn't actually pitted and is showing good pace here. I missed that one. I think Leclerc might have made a mistake actually. Magnussen is now on the back of Hamilton then. And is about to get onto the podium. Let's use that boost there to get him past. We've got high fuel mode available as well. That's him up into second. Oh dear God. Right, Leclerc needs to try and chase back down Perez if he can. So there's a 1-2 available here. Magnussen is about to take the lead of the race and they're back in again. Perez has just pitted. This is going to be a 1-2 if we can... Leclerc is right there. Let's use the boost. He's got past 1. He's about to take Lewis Hamilton down the inside into the hairpin. He's done it. We are 1-2 in this race. There's gearbox issues now for the boys, so let's just back that down. Because we're home and dry in this one. Oh, I hate it when the AI do this. I've seen them make stupid mistakes before, but I've never seen anything like this. This is idiotic on a new scale. Why have they done this? It's not even like it's close. It's not even close to intermediates. And they put soft tyres on. Oh dear. Well, I guess we better enjoy the moment, because it might not come again for a long time. Get your Danish flags out, all you Magnussen fans. You're about to see Kevin Magnussen win a Formula 1 race for the first time. It's the season opener in Australia, no less, as well. And this is going to put us atop of every championship. Something we could only have dreamed of over the winter. And we've been gifted it. Let's not beat around the bush. We've not really earned this. Let's make it as an impressive a victory as we can, shall we? And just go push and high. I'm fairly confident the cars are going to get over the line at this point. Let's make sure it's over 20 seconds that we win by, shall we? Magnussen comes down the pit straight to take his debut victory in Formula 1. Charles Leclerc takes his debut podium, and it's the Haas team's first win and first 1-2 in Formula 1 then. And I would put money on that that's the first American-based team 1-2 in history. It might be the first Danish driver to win as well. I can't think of any off the top of my head. There might have been one. There might have been a couple, to be fair. I can't think of them at the moment. And that's a stunning result that feels so hollow. Fix these issues, PlaySport. Fix them, because this is a joke that this happens. I mean, we were going to have a fairly good result that I would have been happy with. We were looking at 4th and 6th there for a minute, as a normal finish if the AI had done what we'd done. And even maybe trying intermediates at the end I would have understood, like a couple of cars did. But putting soft and super soft tyres on in the middle of a monsoon is stupid. So stupid. I want to use a word that I probably shouldn't, so I won't. But it's stupid. Stupid, stupid, stupid. As a result, we're going to be top of everything. I mean, we'll enjoy the moment, and it gives our season a nice boost. And I always feel you should be rewarded for picking the right strategy in this game, but not rewarded by being gifted the victory and second place. Because it just ruins the fun, really. As much as it will come in handy, it ruins the fun. Well, there we go. It's a Haas 1-2. We were playing to a completely different set of rules to everybody else today. 43 points is almost as many as we scored last season in one race. So it happens, I guess. A good race for Renault. Some good opening points for them. They definitely seem to have made some improvements over the winter. Very bad race for Ferrari, and a point in their first ever Formula 1 race for Russian time, so they can enjoy that tonight. It normally takes a lot of F1 teams a long time, if at all, to get a point in Formula 1. So, well, there's not much you can really say apart from just leaving your anger and your distaste at the AI's decisions there. There's not really much help or advice that can be given on that. It just happened. The money comes in handy though, and well, I do kind of wish we'd gone for a higher sponsor objective there, but what can you do? That's going to be it then for race number 1. Hopefully we'll have a more balanced event in in race number 2 next time out in China. But as always, keep your help and advice coming. It encourages me to continue with this series, and hopefully we'll get to have a better judge of where our car is next time, rather than being gifted the victory. Do hit that like button if you enjoyed the episode. Subscribe if you're new, and you can of course go back and watch all the other Motorsport Manager videos that I've done, as well as, you know, the F1, the live streams and stuff in Project Cars and whatnot. As always, thank you everybody for watching, and I'll see you again next time.